Yep.
We're not enough.
I wonder how Springfield would feel, especially the Democrats. They might feel kind of important. Right, so I can see going either way.
Think we're going live stream?
Maybe
Yep.
not on
Both sides of the issue.
streaming.
But every person screaming against somebody screaming for.
And the ones that are against or opposed are as loud.
So in Kilson, we had about 5 to 10 people screaming against. If we had 5 to 10 screaming for.
You know, we should have a conversation in the future, 30 years in the future.
Post-mortem.
Well, and then maybe some laws can be adjusted. So that we're not always looking at certain sites. Chicago areas, we have fairly second fighting. And not necessarily just the others, but thinking of the Berghoff buildings, which are threatened, but not visibly threatened. Central consumer it could be sort of a issue. And I know the Berghoffs are a little bit because they had to hold the city council.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Good afternoon. This is the Commission on Chicago Landmarks regular meeting. Today's date, Thursday, July 6th. Hope everybody had a good July 4th. We'll start with the roll call. Commissioner Jacobitz.
Present.
Commissioner Cox will be joining us later. Commissioner Burns.
Present.
Commissioner Fair.
Present.
Commissioner Hughes is not here. Commissioner Ponce is not here. Commissioner Rubin.
Present.
And Commissioner Tolliver. Sorry, Commissioner Rubin, yes, you said present. Tolliver is not here, and I am present. We do have a quorum. As the notice for today's meeting stated, commission meetings will no longer be adhering to the emergency rules governing the conduct of remote public commission meetings and provisions for remote public participation in place during the COVID-19 public health emergency, as the gubernatorial disaster declaration is no longer in effect. As such, public comment will be heard after each agenda item as per our previous meeting format. Accordingly, I'd like to ask anyone wishing to make a statement on today's agenda to complete a public comment card and give the card to a member of the staff. Comment cards are available at the door. As a courtesy to other individuals wishing to offer comments, we ask that members of the general public limit your statements to 3 minutes or less. When the time comes for public comment on the individual item on the agenda, I'll call the names from the cards and ask you to come forward to the microphone to make your statement. Please state your name and interest, organization, or company you represent, if any. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting from June 8th, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Burns moved. Is there a second?
Seconded. Commissioner Rubin.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The motion carries unanimously. We are going to have a little departure from the agenda. Today we are going to actually start with the citywide Adopt a Landmark Fund application for the Uptown Square District. This is located at 1215 West Gunnison Street to 48 and 4840 North Broadway in the 46th Ward with Alderwoman Clay and Dan Kleiber. Floor is yours.
Technical difficulties. I don't know. It went blank. Booted you out.
I think it did.
Please shut it off.
You think?
Oh, there you go. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. In 2021, we informed you of 12 projects that DPD conditionally awarded grants to from the 2021 Adopt a Landmark Application Funding Round. You may recall that each of the projects are required to come back to the Commission for a vote once their scope and budget are fully developed. One of the applicants, Gunnison Street Residential Lofts Condominium Association, representing the 22 unit owners of the 1215 West Gunnison building, a contributing building within the Uptown Square district located at the same address, have finalized the budget and scope for their project. The association is requesting $250,000 in Adopt a Landmark funds for exterior envelope work totaling approximately $1.7 million. For orientation, the subject building is located at the southwest corner of West Gunnison Street and North Broadway within the Uptown community area and the 46th Ward. The 1215 West Gunnison building was completed in approximately 1926 and is known historically as the Spiegel Furniture Company building. As I just mentioned, it is a contributing building within the Uptown Square district, which was designated a Chicago landmark in 2016. The development of the Uptown Square district during the first 2 decades of the 20th century transformed the intersection of Lawrence and Broadway in the city's Uptown community area from a rural crossroads to one of the region's most vibrant entertainment, business, and shopping districts. Christened Uptown by department store owner and local booster Lauren Miller in the mid-1910s, the area became known as Uptown Square by the mid-1920s. While not a physical square in the traditional sense, the name was meant to evoke a sense of the market square where commercial activity was concentrated. Only Chicago's downtown loop rivaled Uptown Square as both an entertainment center and a commercial shopping district. The proposed Adopt a Landmark project consists of significant repair and restoration work to the Gunnison building's primary east and north facades. The work stems from a terracotta assessment of the building performed by Wiss Janney Elsner Associates in 2019 after a failure of the terracotta cladding. In summary, the project consists of rebuilding the parapet walls on the east and north facades, including the removal, storage, and reinstallation of salvaged and newly fabricated terracotta units. Additional terracotta and steel work is planned for the second and third floor spandrel locations. All terracotta units will be cataloged and indexed for reinstallation. In total, Boston Valley Terracotta will create approximately 550 plus new terracotta pieces that will be fabricated from approximately 175 plus pieces that served as molds. Terracotta will be reinstalled with stainless steel anchorages per the plans. Other work includes removal and replacement of the wood decking and roof membrane on the balconies on the north facade. This work will include repairing of roof drains, installation of new deck supports, insulation, and roof membranes, including flashings. Taking advantage of a time-saving scan via drone of the building's facades, the project was actually started just a few months ago in the spring, ahead of the project's original timeline. Commission staff worked closely with the contracting team to review the work to keep the project going as well. The photos in front of you show some of the preliminary work and measurements taken earlier in the year. The above photos were taken by Commission staff during a site visit just this past May and show ongoing work to the facade, the steel work, and the salvaged terracotta pieces themselves. And finally, these images show the samples of the approved terracotta replacements' texture, color, and finish against original pieces from the facade. The resolution before you to grant the Adopt a Landmark funds to the applicant includes an Exhibit A, which outlines the scope of work and budget, which I just summarized, and which includes $250,000 in grant funds for the $1.7 million project. This resolution and drawings were included in your packets. In addition, Exhibit A includes the main conditions associated with the project. In summary, the conditions are that all work must be submitted to DPD for prior review and approval. The work must be done in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior standards. The applicant will notify staff of any undocumented conditions. The applicant will enter into an escrow agreement to assure the project is completed and paid for in a timely manner, and that the applicant will provide to DPD the necessary documentation of the project so that staff can also give an informational overview of the project to the commission once it is completed. Should you vote to approve the project, the department will then enter into a written agreement with the applicant that will incorporate this resolution. Again, the project is located in the 46th Ward, and Alderwoman Clay has been made aware of the project. Also with me today to help answer any questions, sitting right next to me, is Troy Baldwin, unit owner and president of the Condominium Association, Bruce Carble from Kagan Management, and Al Christopher from Brawl Construction, the contractor for the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions for Dan at this time?
I have a question, Dan. Just curious, how current is the project budget? And I asked just because of how much construction costs have increased in the last 2 years, but particularly in the last 6 months?
Yeah, we're aware. But I think Bruce can, if you want to.
I didn't really hear the question.
The question.
I asked how current is the project budget? I couldn't tell from the materials in our packets and what you showed up here.
We're online with the exact budget. There are no alterations.
Okay.
Other than there was a change order for some additional terracotta pieces that were found to be defective and needed replacement. But the contract is as it was signed at the beginning and has not been altered.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Commission? Actually, I did have another question for the contractor. The condition of the backing of the, that you had indicated that stainless steel anchors are going to be used for the new terracotta pieces. But what is the condition of the masonry backing and jointing that those anchors are going to be secured to?
Let Al.
If you want me to answer that?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could state your name and,
Yes, sir. Al Christopher, stand or sit?
fantastic.
Not sure. Al Christopher, Ball Restoration. Yeah, that's always a major unknown. And so we put in a quantity there that generally accepts the fact that there's going to be some work, we just don't know how much. And we don't want to put in more than we need to, and we don't want to have less. But it's actually all been secured. I mean, all this work is actually done, and we're in the literal waiting period back for our terracotta to come back in. But, the steel was in really excellent shape. We had that viewed. We've cleaned it and flashed it. It's all ready to go. So the new anchorage going back into the backup masonry it's all solid. It's completely been watertight for a while now, and it's ready to receive new units.
New terracotta, yeah.
We actually had a petrographic analysis done of all that mortar. We've had it done. We've actually have a mock-up in place that's on the canopy outside of the, the structure that's there. It's where all the pieces have been, categorized and they're all laid right out there. We have a few still back in our shop that we've used for molds that have been sent back from Boston Valley Terracotta out in New York. And so we're ready to go. It's been going quite well. We're more than 151 pieces over. We were able to absorb a few of those because they were ones that we had already planned on to make a mold of. But there were some others that, were just not salvageable. But it's going to look great. It's going very, very well.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I'm sorry, Troy, you want to make a comment, statement?
Not particularly. I mean, I will say this is great for us. As you mentioned, the price tag is quite high for a building of 22 condos and a few commercial spaces. So, it's been interesting what we've had to deal with over the last few years. I mean, I've been there since the beginning of when the building got rehabbed back in 2003. I actually first moved in 2006.
So it's been an interesting journey, and the gentleman who was the original developer, I think, was lax in some of the things that he clearly, some of the things that he did. So we're kind of making up for it now. But this, this addition is hugely helpful to us as the association.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions for the applicant? Having none. And I apologize, all those wonderful comments back there actually should have gone on the record with the microphone, but we didn't. Hopefully you spoke loud enough so that we were able to catch some of that. Wonderful. Just to make note, Commissioner Cox is here for the record, so thank you. If there are no other comment or questions, I'll call for comments from the public. And Mr. Miller, you're up.
Can I steal your spot?
Oh, you
for
actually
just a
can.
second?
Yes.
Sorry, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ward Miller. I'm the Richard H. Driehaus Executive Director of Preservation Chicago, and I'm here today on behalf of our organization to support this Adopt a Landmark application for 1215 West Gunnison and 4840 North Broadway. This is really an amazing program, and really really applaud the administration here, both this administration and prior administrations, towards this important program of Adopt a Landmark. It's grown so tremendously over time, and it's really wonderful to see our buildings and our landmark buildings in landmark districts even be considered for renovation. And oftentimes we forget that this is development. We oftentimes think of the 30-story building as development, but really an investment in our historic buildings and our landmark is the most sensitive type of development we can possibly have. So I just want to applaud all of you, the department and the city, for continuing this amazing program and hoping to see many more landmarks be adopted, if you will, with these types of funds that is a developer fund. So thank you so much. Again, we were supportive of the Uptown Uptown Square Landmark District years ago. Worked with the community, worked with the aldermen, worked with all of you and the staff here at DPD, and we are just so proud to see these investments, these reinvestments in our landmarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward. I do want to also echo, I'd actually like to commend the Condo Association. This is a huge feat for you guys, and I know what it's like on that other end, so, really appreciate your bravery, actually, in
Thank
taking
you.
this on.
Sticking through, exactly.
Having no other questions or comments, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the resolution for the citywide Adopt a Landmark Fund Grant for 1215 West Gunnison Street to 4840 North Broadway in the Uptown Square District. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved, Commissioner Jekowitz.
Seconded, Commissioner
Second
Fair.
by Commissioner Fair. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Good luck. It's a beautiful day out. You've had a couple of days of rain, so
I know.
get moving.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Great job. Thank you. All right, we're going to go back to the first item on the agenda is the report from the Department of Planning and Development on the Eugenie Lane Apartments located at 235 West Eugenie Street. And this is in the second ward. And Commissioner Cox, you are on.
Excellent, thank you. Is it in presentation mode? Not yet. I'm still seeing. The lower right next to the right next to the nope. Right next to the minus sign. Is that the first slide? Doesn't look like it. There you go. The Department of Planning and Development finds that the proposed landmark designation of the Eugenie Lane Apartments supports the city's overall planning goals for the surrounding neighborhood and is consistent with the city's governing policies and plans. Although a modern building from 1962, the Eugenie Lane Apartments intentionally respects the historic 19th century neighborhood surrounding it. Its treetop height reflects the scale, and its use of materials like Chicago common brick, a standing seam mansard roof, and louvered panels reference vernacular features of 19th century architecture in Chicago. The Eugenie Lane Apartments were designed by Ben Weiss, a significant Chicago architect whose designs focused on social responsibility and the human experience of architecture. His works take inspiration from vernacular architecture and simple materials. The Eugenie Lane Apartments are located in the Old Town Triangle District, which was designated as a Chicago landmark in 1977. At the time of the district's designation, there was insufficient perspective of time to evaluate buildings built after 1930s, and Eugenie Lane Apartments are regarded as a non-contributing building in the landmark district. But with the passage of time, the building's historic and architectural significance has become clear, and designation of the building will ensure that it will be preserved. The Eugenie Lane Apartments are part of a family of modern and postmodern infill residential designs in the Old Town Landmark District. In addition to Ben Weiss, other noteworthy architects from Chicago also designed architecturally progressive residences in Old Town around the same time for themselves and for clients in the 1960s and 70s. Our planning work at the Department of Planning and Development is committed to design excellence, which includes strengthening the culture of our communities, committing to cultural longevity and environmental sustainability. These goals are also consistent with landmark designation of historic works of high quality design exemplified by the Eugenie Lane Apartments. And that completes our report.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. Does the commission have any questions for Commissioner Cox this time? Having none, there are, actually, I did want to make a quick comment that, I'm very pleased to see some of Ben Weiss's work being landmarked. Ben was served on this commission for a number of years, as well as the chair of the Permit Review Committee for a number of years, and was really a mentor to me. So this is wonderful to see this, and I'm really thrilled to see that. Ward, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon again, Commissioners. For the record, Ward Miller, the Richard H. Driehaus Executive Director of Preservation Chicago. We are very much in support of this landmark designation of the Eugenie Lane Apartments by architect Ben Weiss, who had an amazing career both in his architectural firm and also in preservation efforts in Chicago. He was one of the few people that were there to support the Glessner House when it was threatened, and continued as an important member and advocate of the preservation and architecture community in Chicago. Even to this day, I feel like his spirit is still with us, and he is still living, alive and well. So it's wonderful for him to be recognized for this. As Commissioner Wong, Chairman Wong mentioned, he served on this landmark commission for, I want to say, decades. Along with John Baird, they were, amazing commissioners that were so dedicated to the cause here. And we just wanted to mention, as the previous slide had also indicated, that the period of significance for the Old Town Landmark District does not extend into the late 20s or the early 30s. So there are a lot of buildings that are really remarkable, that were just highlighted by people like Bruce Graham, architect of the Sears Tower, Edgar Miller and his Glassner Studios, as I just mentioned, Boston Dring, and the list goes on. So there have been various documents prepared by the late Terry Tatum, who worked for the city for many years. I believe there are about 60 buildings of this nature. I think we looked at about 20 of them that are perhaps the top 20, and it'd be great to see all of these recognized as landmarks one day. They are landmarks, but unofficial landmarks in a landmark district, which for a long time we thought were safe as they were in a landmark district. But as we look to the period of significance, as a critical judge, we've seen a number of these buildings demolished. We'd love to see this larger group of buildings post-1920s all the way up to 35 or 50 years ago, whatever that line is, considered for Chicago landmark designation. This is an important neighborhood, an incredible neighborhood, and some incredible works of art by some of our greatest architects in Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, Ward. There are no other public comments?
I'll make a
Yeah,
comment.
go ahead.
I just want to voice my support for this as well. I'm really happy to see these modernist buildings preserved in Old Town, and I'm happy that the department's recognizing them. They truly make up the character of Old Town in their way, and they've stood the test of time. And so I'm happy to see this.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackowitz. With that, I'd like to request a motion to accept the department's report for the Eugenie Lane Apartments. Is there a motion?
So moved, Commissioner Rubin.
Thank you. And a second?
Seconded, Commissioner
Second,
Jakevich.
Commissioner Jackowitz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, where are we? Permit Review Committee reports. This is a short meeting today. Report on the projects reviewed at the June 8th Permit Review Committee and Commissioner Jackowitz.
Yes, thank you. The Permit Review Committee reviewed 6 projects at its June 8th, 2023 meeting. All 6 projects were approved with conditions. The report summarizing the scope of the proposed projects and the committee's decisions was included in your packets. This report is for information and for the record.
Thank you so much. And Emily.
Yes, thanks, Chair. So for the month of June, staff reviewed 182 permit applications. A total of 196 reviews were performed by staff, with the average number of days to issue approval or correction being 3.8.
Wonderful. Okay, any comments, any questions? If not, I'm going to request a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The meeting is adjourned, and Commissioner Jackowitz?
Well, I guess we start at 1:30.
Okay.
As scheduled, right? Is that when?
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you, folks.